All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome into the show here. Thank y'all for coming by and hanging out with me today. Another episode here of Locker Room Sports Talk live here on a Thursday night. Until the season kind of gets regularly going, I usually come on like Tuesday nights and Thursday nights. And after the 4th of July, we'll be wide open and large and in charge. So for right now, on a special Thursday night edition, let me bring your attention to the center of the room. Can we all give the man a round of applause? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the Bierge. Oh, sorry. Come on now. Y'all be nice. Don't be messing with a guy like that. All right, here we go. All right, guys, welcome into the show, Locker Room Sports. Glad y'all come by and hang out here. Hit the like button, thumbs up, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. You already know what to do. This ain't new to you. You want to talk about college football, get some news, get a real perspective of what's really going on in the college football world. No fudge, no smudge, just locker room talk, man. This guy's sitting around chewing the fat and telling about what's up. Maybe we'll start sharing some schedules after the 4th. There's more schedules have come in as of late. We'll break down some of those. I got a sleeper team for you today, Bierge. How exciting is that?
I'm interested to see if it's the same as the sleeper team that I picked out.
Well, hey, I'm going to tell you, there's another one out there that I picked first, but I thought, nah, that's too easy. I'm gonna do this one first, and then I'll come back and add that one later. Also, Dabo Sweeney in the news again today, sharing a topic that's not new to us, and also the Safe College Football Act. Nick Saban not on board with really the details of what they're trying to do. We all know what Saban has went to bat for in all this situation. Talk about that. And Auburn is on the line, I think probably now or in the next little while, for a wide receiver out of Pratville. He played at the private school, an AISA school last year, and he come into Pratville last year. Deshawn Hall, Auburn looking to add some more depth to their roster after losing 40 guys. And we're going to talk recruiting. And Alabama fans, look real close in the camera. Calm down. Shut up. They're the same place nearly they was last year at this time. Really. I think they were next to last in the SEC this time last year. So, and if we're going to go by and have double standard of, well, Indiana, they didn't have no recruits hardly at all. He recruited like 30. If they won a championship, if they can do it, we can do it. Well, now if that's what Bama does, now that's not right. Now it's the wrong way to do it. So, y'all, you got to make up your mind. And there's stipulations and there's behind the scenes and there's details of every class is different. Every team's needs are different. And I hate to tell you guys, but we'll start it off, Birds, and I'll let you take it away. The days of 125 players playing college football on each team is dead, Birds. You can't have more than 105, period. That's the rule. 105. Here's 105. Do with it what you want. Saban, Kirby, Dabo, Coach Day, Coach Harbaugh, Michigan, the last guys to win national championships here recently. It was 125, 120. Some teams had 130 guys. It's 105 now. So if you're going to have 105 guys and you want to keep the guys that you already have on the team because nobody left after spring, nobody left. So you want to retain the number one class you had last year and you want to keep some portal guys that you added this year. You don't have money because you only have 105 players. So you don't have the same amount of allotted money. And also we have NIL Go. So there's supposed to be rules to this, Bierge. Tell us about NIL and the NIL Go. What's up, Zach?
rules.
I mean, what's the NIL go? What is the NIL go? What is that? I mean, you've looked into that any and what it's supposed to be and how it works, and there's a certain amount of money and
not to be able to speak on it accurately. No,
there's only a little bit of $1,000 that you can actually use for these players. Because remember, NIL, as me and you did like 2 years ago when Georgia passed it for high school, you can't wear your college stuff. It's not about the school. You can't represent your institution. It's your name, your image, and your likeness. So there's only a certain amount of money that colleges are supposed to be spending. But we know that A&M, LSU, and some other classes are spending $40, $50 million. Bama's got about 30 million sunk into this class. 30 or 31 is what I read the other day. And Auburn, for example, in state, I think they're at around 20. They need a lot of players. So what about Georgia recruiting? Have you got anything new on the books for them, or what's the word on the street for Georgia?
Well, they actually pulled in a few recruits this past couple of weeks. I've seen, seems like every time Kirby pulls in a recruit, he just simply posts on his Twitter or wherever, "Go Dogs." So you kind of see the things coming through. Just last week, Kennedy Jackson committed on 6'13", 4-star guy out of Lithonia. I like him. I think he's going to be pretty good talent. 6'15", Jameer Dean out of Tennessee. Yeah, Dean. Yeah.
Is that Diamond Dean's cousin?
It could be.
I don't know about that.
A brother from another mother. But 6 foot 1.5, 175. He's a wide receiver, which, you know, if you ask anybody around, Georgia needs wide receivers.
Yeah, they really got
that later. But yeah, I mean, they've been pulling them in. Colton Nussmeier, you know, obviously ruled ineligible at the school he transferred to, but I think he's going to be a good player. You know, 6'4", 195 quarterback. A bunch of guys they brought in.
Now, what are you feeling about Stockton this year, about Gunner coming back and all that?
Well, let's go with this narrative. This is what I'm going to say. I'm going to say Gunner's first real year starting last year. I know he started against Notre Dame after about a week's notice or whatever. Was able to finish out against Texas. I feel like the Notre Dame loss wasn't all on Gunner. No. Really, honestly, 80% of it wasn't on Gunner. I think line of scrimmage got out physical. And you could tell by the rushing results and the offensive line results last year that Kirby didn't like that. And they changed a lot of things. They just simply 2 years ago, they couldn't run it well. They couldn't do much. And offensive line's improved a lot. There's a lot coming back. So I said all that to say this. All the pundits say that Gunner's going to have to take the next step in order for Georgia to be championship contender. I feel like it's a similar statement. I feel like he gets undervalued, kind of like my bro Stetson Bennett did a few years ago. Now, I get it. Stetson was a walk-on. You know, it's a different situation, but they're similar in the fact that both are being extremely overlooked. And I think Gunner's capable, and I think Gunner has the mental fortitude. I think he's there mentally. It's just I think he's just got to let it rip. Gunner's the best option. Let's say that. There are talented quarterbacks behind him, but Gunner's definitely the best option at this point.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said there. In the game, I mean, you know, he has to do what he has to do, but, you know, guys still have to get open. Linemen still have to block. Georgia's run game has been about parallel with Alabama. It just can't get it's got to get dudes. And you just talked about the receivers. It's just a different world, and you're here. Look, if Georgia would have changed coaches, you would be hearing more about Georgia, getting, recruiting stuff and, well, they ain't getting what they, need and et cetera, et cetera. But Kirby's there and he's the OG in the room right now of all the coaches in the SEC. Well, really around probably in the nation, pretty much. There's some things that they need to fill, but there's confidence is the right word. Confidence in Kirby. There we go. We're going to start a new page. Confidence in Kirby's, presented by Benton Bierge, sponsored by Mountain Dew Energy Drink. No, I'm just kidding.
I do have confidence in Kirby, but also have confidence in a much better returning unit, even though we lose a lot of receivers and majority.
But what did you really lose?
I get you. I mean,
really,
like 15 returning starters if you count, some of the line that played a lot. So that's a good bit.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like the idea of who they got coming back, and Georgia's definitely going to be a favor to play in the SEC title game. So that's what that is. Now, let's move on to Alabama and Alabama fans. So y'all get you torches down and get you slick poles lined up and all that kind of stuff. And just remember the fact that there's a few narratives out there. So let me settle some of those first. I mean, we are going to talk about Sorsby. The talk is, well, the board can't, recruit because the money has changed to college football and there's just no room for, Alabama's not going to be able to do it like they did. Well, I think they just had overall the best class in the country last year. USC actually had number one next to their name, but only because they had more players. They had a lot of a quantity of players. Bama had the best class in the country last year. So the idea that he can't recruit is just silly. Okay. And that's just people, putting stuff out there that just hate Alabama because everybody hates Alabama. I mean, they just do. Auburn fans don't like them. Most Georgia fans don't. Tennessee don't. LSU sure as heck don't. There ain't no love lost for Texas. It ain't none of the West Coast teams pulling from Alabama because they come out there and usually get a lot of their players. And now with DeBoer there from coaching out that way, there's just no love lost there. So you're not going to get a fair report, I feel like. And I also think that rivals, and knowing this for a fact from somebody that worked there, a person that I know, they're not going to grade all these players out immediately. Right now, your rankings are just, this is from a person that worked there. It's purely just based on the number. It's based on your quantity, not quality. Okay. And as I said earlier, they got 9 seniors. I think they lost 4 starting seniors from this team. They finished with a top 5 or 4 defense last year. It's going to be predicted if you watch any other college football shows besides this one. They're going to be the best defense in the SEC, maybe the best or top 3 in the nation next year because of everybody that comes back. They're bringing back nearly everybody. Okay. So that's that. So you got to have that money to keep those guys around so you can keep a top rated defense because Bierge, what wins championships? Why were they so successful when Kirby was there?
Defense, man.
Yeah. That's what Kirby's known for.
Depth and defense.
That's the key thing. Now, depth, that's a whole nother thing because now these days it's hard to have good quality depth. Georgia, Ohio State, Bama, LSU, Michigan, whatever. It's hard to have good depth because you can't stockpile what I mentioned at the start of the show. You can't have 125 players on the roster no more. It's literally illegal. You can only have 105, period. That's walk-ons and all your scholarship guys. That's and a team usually wants to keep about, I think Bama's got about 3 or 4 kickers. So you're talking about probably, honestly, Georgia, Bama, any teams like that, probably about 50 dudes, real good football players. And out of that 50, probably only half of them, which would be 25, are really suspect to play, could possibly play year one, like Xavier Griffin, linebacker, new, played last year. Those are the kind of guys that you have to see. Those are part of those 105 numbers. And the money aspect, again, NIL go, if you want to be a cheater and you want to overspend on players and you want to buy expensive players because your team's not real good, some teams have to do that because they're not a really good program. They have to overspend on players. So this whole idea of Bama, they are last in the SEC. We knew, the coaches talked about it. DeBoer talked about it right out of spring. He said, look, this year coming in for recruiting, we're not going to have a big class this year. We want to retain what we have. We like this team. We went to the playoffs. We got our lumps, but our defensive guys, I think 9 of the players on defense played in 12 to 15 games. What does that mean? That sounds like a good recipe for success. 12 to 15 games, and like 4 of the like Mincy, Red Morgan, and those guys, they played in 8 or 10 games. They didn't start those games. So they've come in and played a lot of minutes. So all the time. So you didn't have to spend that money on that. So they did spend a lot of time on the offensive line. They got a new coach, offensive line assistant coaches, a whole new offensive line, and Michael Carroll came back. So this offensive line don't have a lot of snaps. Together, they do. Separately, they're in the 200 or 300 range, but they don't together. And that's where the concern is. And I don't have a problem with people being concerned about that as a fan. Sure, you could be concerned about it because this run game in Alabama has sucked since after they won it in 20. They ain't really had a 1,000-yard rusher in years. They haven't. So it all hangs and depends on that offensive line. So, number one, you just kill your Jets, bro. It's June. Let's see who signs, Bierge. Let's see who Kirby signs. Let's see who Gaulish signs come towards the end of the year of all the guys that we're talking about going to play and all the guys that are coming for the 27 class. Elijah Haven was the number 1 quarterback for 27. I'm pretty sure, if I'm not wrong, I think he committed to Alabama. Am I wrong? Elijah Haven. He's at Bama.
Yeah, got him at number 10 nationally overall prospect, number 3, and then number 1 quarterback in the state of Georgia. I mean, Alabama, excuse me.
And when you get a good quarterback, this is right. This is why I like that, is because when you get a top-rated quarterback, he'll bring receivers. So Mushawn Sales, which is from Alabama, grew up Alabama fan, which moved up north. Him and Keelan Russell, maybe your starting quarterback Alabama this year, and Elijah Haven, he's been on a visit. He likes it here. That would be another good get. So just be cool and calm down, because I think that the coaches at the universities know a lot more about recruiting their football team than me or you or anybody on here that's watching.
Yeah, and you only have 8 recruits right now. I mean, there's a lot of work to be done. But like you said, it could be a small class, but still, there's only 8. I mean, you'll at least double that.
Yeah, I'm expecting to probably get 16, 18.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. It's so different now. You know, high school recruiting is not the only part of the evaluation. You also have to do portal guys, right? All right. And you also got to keep up with all the transfer stuff that's going on. And you have to retain. You have a retention amount of money to keep who you have. You got a lot of money for high school. And then you got to have a allotted amount of money for portal guys. Fans, it's not – stop. We got to stop Nick Saban talk. I mean, it's everything that goes on. Why, by God, he don't cut his damn steak like Saban did. He's a born loser, I tell you what he is. Shut up. He's not. It's just not true.
the Saban talk. I mean, Saban's done. I mean,
Yeah, he'll never coach another football game.
No, he's happy where he's at. Which I mean, he's trying to battle for college football a little bit, but the comparisons. It's time for the comparisons to be over. But like you said, he's not Saban, and he'll never be Saban.
No,
but it feels like, especially even I've heard Alabama fans, they just continue to compare him, and if you do that, you're never going to be happy.
Well, here's the thing: who is Nick Saban? I mean, who's going to be, who's supposed to take his spot?
I hear you.
I mean, who's going to be him again? Nobody. Kirby can't. They're not going to be any runs to where any college coach anymore in the day that we live in is going to go on and win like 5 titles in 10 years. All right. Kirby would be lucky if he wins 3 more in his career at Georgia. It's a totally different game now. Having the number of players that you can legally have, 105, and having an NIL Go fund to where the money has to be run through this legally, right? We're supposed to be doing it right, not sneaking around the line like A&M. They're doing it, man, and they're doing it wide open. I want to bring in this right here. I promised Ben, I promised Ben would bring this up here. Where'd he go? Well, by God. All right, Birds, what about old Sorsby? What's the deal? What do you think?
What do I think about his situation that he was in?
Yeah.
I think that him being in the position he's in now, trying for the supplemental draft, is the best thing for college football in general, because I don't think you could set the precedent of letting somebody – I get it. Look, get out. They were trying to – he'd been to rehab. I'm all about second chances.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, when do you have to kind of reap what you sow? I mean, right. You bet $90,000 on like 4,000 different bets or something like that. You had multiple people betting for you on different accounts with different names. I mean, there's no way that you could let him walk by, and they were going to let him because they didn't have no choice, because there's no authority these days. I mean, the NCAA has been stripped from every piece of it. And I think that's kind of part of this Save College Football Act a little bit, is somebody's got to be able to help make decisions on these things and have kind of a little bit of authority. But I don't even know if it's going to help, or obviously if it's even going to go through, which I've seen where the initial part went through, but I just don't know if there's going to be enough backing. That's obviously a different subject, but I don't believe the Big Ten and the SEC are nowhere close to being on board with it. So in the end, I think those powers will probably prevail on that. But as far as Sorsby goes, I think he did the right thing, whether it was his decision or their decision. We maybe never know. Doesn't matter. It was the right thing to do. Just regardless of the situation.
Yeah, I agree. Here's the thing. I mean, first of all, I got to say this up front. Being a baseball, fan, congratulations to your daughter and her accomplishments I've been seeing on your Facebook post. I know that's exciting as a dad, getting to do all that while they're young. It's a lot of fun. So being a fan of that, Bierge, didn't we just persecute and run old Pete Rose? Just run him. I mean, just absolutely tarnished his whole legacy. This guy he had the best switch hitting batting average in the history of the game. Pete Rose was a famous baseball player.
Yeah. And
because he bet on some games, they've literally knocked him out, period, of ever being, I guess, in the Baseball Hall of Fame or being able to go to Cooperstown. So what makes it any different for another man. Let's stop calling them kids. God dang it. They're freaking men. Yeah. By the time you're 17 or 18, by the time you're 12 or so or 13, you know right from wrong. This guy's betting on games and has decided that he has a problem and he has to make a address to the problem. And the problem is you can't bet on games that you're involved. I don't care. Look, they've run players off of NFL teams, not even betting on the sport they play. They run off buddy. Who was it? Diggs up at Buffalo or something? Or he was in the facility and bet on a freaking basketball game or something. He got in trouble for betting on another sport game just because he was in the facility. But this man is going to be able to come here and bet on games. And after all the stuff we've been through, everything I've talked about, old Charlie Hustle, Pete Rose, and everything I've just brought up, there's no way he can't be a part of the game. Either we're gonna be a part of it and we're gonna stand up and say what's right, or we're not. You can't be. Don't be a fence rider. Just be one or the other. And it seems to be where we are that gambling is, legal, in most states, but you can't do it as a player source. Come on, man. So I think personally, you got a little pushback probably from the conference because we know they had a big meeting, and then we've seen that big spiel that the AD and the president and the coach all had from Texas Tech, and we're behind this young man 100% and dealing with his – shut up. Dude, just shut up. Come on, people.
Let me ask you this. If this guy was at Tennessee Tech or UAB or – any of those schools like that where they didn't have a backing of somebody like Cody Campbell and the deep pockets there at Texas Tech, you think we probably don't even hear about this, much less an injunction filed, by a Texas judge. So, I mean, like I said, my opinion is that was the right thing to do regardless. I don't think that anybody was actually going to forfeit games or whatnot on their schedule. But just the threat of that, I mean, you could tell immediately, Georgia's AD, Josh Brooks, he was one of the ones to kind of step out there. And then there was return fire from Texas Tech about Georgia arrest report or whatever, which, I mean, that was pretty sad. But anyway, all fair, I guess.
Well, we either got to do one or the other. You just can't. There can't be both. And him betting on the game, knowing, and he's a player, you just can't. And that's just it. And there has to be a precedent set, whether it was the conference called down, because we know there was a lot of people up in arms. There was a lot of other. Didn't Kirby come out and say we'll scratch them from the schedule, right?
Actually,
somebody else.
It was the athletic director, Josh Brooks at Georgia, told all of his teams that Texas Tech would not be on their schedule. And I'm talking about water polo, swimming, football, basketball, tennis. You're not playing them. They're not on the schedule.
Yeah, I dig it. So, it is what it is, and it just can't be. We can't have it that way, and that's where we have to go. All right, moving on here in other news, Tommy Tubbs, Senator Tubberville, Republican, Alabama, which will probably more than likely he's going to be your governor. Tubbs is he's in agreement with players being able to make money. I don't think any coaches have really come out against that, said they're not. No. But he is not with the idea of trying to save everything and along the lines of diminishing college football itself, because college football being the money striver of the whole entity, there's got to be a middle somewhere, because we know that, like you said, water polo and track and those other sports, which are Olympic sports, and I think they are important. They should be a part of college sports. But where's the middle to where we're going to try to save those without diminishing college football, because once the politicians get their hands in anybody's pockets, Bierge, what usually happens? I ain't going into politics, but we have to a little bit because of, I mean, it's just, he's a politician. He's speaking about college football. Our country as a whole has a credit. Listen, it's a B plus credit score rating, Bierge. If you, Benton Bierge, went to the bank and wanted to build onto your house, build a 2-car garage, and you needed to borrow $5,000, and you had the credit score of the United States of America, they would laugh you out of the bank. We don't do good with money. The country is a banking system. We can call it, democracy, and, it's entrepreneurship, and people borrow money to start their lives, whether they're building a house or starting a business. It is a free country and just overall in general, but in brass tacks of it, this country is a bank. Everything we live on is borrowed. When's the last time you got paid cash for doing a job? Your paycheck goes in your bank account, drafted from an account electronically from the place you work. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're a big bank. So I'm saying that to say, I'm with Tommy and Coach Saban. They agree that all they're looking for is to make a set of rules of a governing judging body. So there's not cases like Chambliss where the NCAA says, like, you're too old and you can't play college football no more, or, an example like that. And then he just goes to a state judge and he says, nah, screw the NCAA. I said you could play. And now he's going to play. He's going to play this year. That's wrong. What do we do? There's no umbrella of laws, rules to go by. And I'm not even talking about portal stuff, because also in the Save Act, the things that Tommy and Coach Saban, I bring Saban up. Well, you got to talk Saban. What's he? Because he's the one running this bill. He's the one that went and sat down and talked to Congress. If you don't know, go look it up. I did it on the show about 2 weeks ago. Kids transfer one time. Cool. You transfer again, you got to sit out a year. That's part of this act. That's the part of this that we want in there. But the other part of it is it's really about TV rights. We know what it's about, Bierge. You know what it's about. It's about money.
All about the Benjamins and the power that the SEC and Big Ten have. That's why they're the biggest. They support some of the aspects of it.
Yeah.
But they do not support the bill as it's currently written. Let's say that. They have concerns. Obviously, they're not going to say it out front, but one of their main concerns is you're going to strip them of the power and try to even it out, which,
they don't want. They don't want to do that, because then that's going to put them at the back piece of it.
Yeah.
And I ain't trying to give a history lesson, but that's the whole reason that we had everything from civil rights acts to all that, because it's about keeping people under their thumb. They lie and manipulate. It's like a tire store throwing nails out in the road saying, well, darn, there's a lot of nails in the road, but come on by here, Big Matt's Tire, and we'll get you fixed up with a new tire. And I'm the one out throwing nails out. That's our government. I don't need them in the pockets of to let the Big Ten and SEC run off and run out into the wilderness and just build their guys, I promise you, listen, $1 billion network. What did Fox sign a deal with the Big Ten for? Was it $700 million? I think ESPN done SEC for like $400-500 million. Guys, we're talking about close to $1 billion because of TV rights and revenue. That's what they want. They want to dig in those pockets and have access to that, to where they can control this money, how it's going to go in and out, and the SEC and Big Ten is going to split up. Well, if NCAA can't get it right, I mean, look, they let old Chambliss, he plays, and NCAA wrote him none where he couldn't play. Then the guy and the judge over there in Mississippi said he could. Well, that's bullcrap. See, we got to get away from that. And Tommy's not with it. And he's going to be governing the state. He's saying, I don't want us to be, in the pockets of college football. We don't need to be there's supposed to be the separation of church and state, and we know why. It wasn't to keep the church out of the state. It's to keep the state out of the church, to keep them from messing it up. That's why, because they'll mess it up. They'll mess it up. So that was Tommy and some of his comments that he had just this week, and last week. And I'm not. It just is what it is. Look, man, I don't trust the government with my life. I didn't need no jabs in the arm for any kind of sickness that run across the desk. I didn't need that.
My only concern is if the government doesn't do something, if somebody doesn't, somebody's got to do something.
Yeah.
And I don't see anybody else doing anything or having the power to do it. So I guess this is why this is the kind of the last. It's an alternative, I guess you'd say, because the NCAA can't do anything.
Well, it don't matter if they rule on something. I mean, we've seen what happens.
Just get sued, and they lose. They've lost everything. And they're worse than having. It's kind of like they have. What's the guy from Liar Liar? He's their attorney. He tells the truth all the time. Man.
I agree. I don't need the government, doing anything extra for anybody. They just need to stay in their lane and just make some rules passed down to where there's a ruling, like Supreme Court ruling 136-4B says, the NCAA says this player is, can't play. You can't go to your state and your judge and let some guy freaking pay him off so he says he can play. They did it with who was it out of Bayou at Bama, the basketball player, remember?
Yeah.
They went to the state judge and the Bama state judge said no. He's been in pro, and even us Bama fans are like, why? What are you doing? Well, because Oates seen other people do it. It's like, well, hell, if everybody else, we'll just jump on. It ain't like he's a star. He was a good addition to help play, but he wasn't going to win you a title or nothing.
Well, I'm pretty sure that's one of the things that's in that SAVE Act is, if you played anywhere in the pros, even overseas, because currently you can come over from overseas and play in college. I think they're trying to eliminate all that, which, I don't, it kind of protects the college stuff, I guess.
What's the word there? What's the big word that fancy word? Yeah, it's an amateur sport.
Yeah,
and that's what we want to keep it as. And as we started with, we do want to protect for girls basketball. I love Alabama girls basketball. Ace Austin, shout out Spring Garden, is a phenom. She's done such a great job. I love keeping up with her. Find her on Instagram. She's got sponsors, Bierge. She does commercial ad stuff. I love seeing her, strive and become, what we know is her, becoming this grown woman, and being in the sport. And we love girls basketball. I love college softball. It's college softball in general is just probably, honestly, I'll tell you, it's more fun to watch than baseball. We have to protect those sports, girls and boys, track and field. Those things are important. Those are things that people can get their foot in the door to come to a college to get their degree and do something. There's got to be a middle. Like you said, nobody's doing nothing. Somebody's got to do something. At least old Nick's out there swinging the bat. Heck, he's going to miss sometimes, but he's, and Ted Cruz, I don't know. There's probably some self-deprecation to it for him. Just knowing how politicians are, period. I'm not talking left or right, period. Yeah. They all eat the same troughs, what Daddy said. They all eat out of the same bucket. Okay. Now, kind of talking about the same thing. Dabo Swinney, we know he got a big extension through 2031. Are you a Swinney fan, Bierge?
Indifferent. I think he had a time where he was one of the top 2 or 3 coaches. I just don't know that if it's anywhere close to that at this point. And they've been struggling. Let's say that.
Well, the thing of college football has changed a lot. And he come out that first year to, by God, we won't hit the portal, and he found out, okay, we're going to have to hit the portal. So
I think
right
he's
here
still
says,
recouping from that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Swinney's enhanced contract follows the mega deals given Alabama's Nick Saban and Georgia's Kirby Smart of Ohio State's Ryan Day earlier this season. Swinney averages yearly $11.5 million, sits along behind Saban's $11.7 million average, et cetera, et cetera. So obviously they like the guy, and they're going to keep him around, and that's I like him. I think he's a good-hearted guy. Now we all know what happened. Between Ole Miss, the player was at Clemson. Dabo come on live by God TV and says they were literally texting the kid while he was there. He was on roster for us, and Pete Golden and staff at Ole Miss just took him. He just left. Like there's got to be. We need some kind of rules where and he named names, and a lot of other coaches like that. A lot of the coaches went along with saying, hey, man, behind the scenes, he got a lot of pats on the back of people that didn't want to speak out and say anything against it. Well, today he says, quote, I'm not trying to get people in trouble, but we just got to have just to be able to get players to be able to not be tampered with. He said, we need more clarity. So he kind of walked it back a little bit. Swinney's speaking out against what happened, his player getting robbed from him. He was PO'd about it. And everybody was kind of with him on it. Now he's a little bit of a pacifist maybe, and not everybody's rah, holler and get crazy like me, but he kind of walked it back a little bit. And I'm not real crazy about that. Just stick to what you said. Just stick with what you said to begin with, and you don't have to walk it back and be a pud about the whole thing.
Well, the reason Ole Miss felt like, or whoever, where it was Golden, Ole Miss, somebody, whoever was doing it, I guess the reason why they feel like they can do it is because who's going to do anything to them?
You're right.
I mean, what's the punishment? When there's no repercussions for any of these things you do, you pay for players and you do what I mean, we're hearing these $40-50 million.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be who knows what it is, and what I just don't see is how are you going to continue year after year to get the type of donations and all that when you're not getting the return. I mean, there's literally one team at the end of the year that wins the championship.
Yeah.
And people are paying $40 and $50 million. I mean, maybe these guys got so much money, they just donate 40-50 million or whatever, like dude at Texas Tech, he's just, I don't know. That's just, I can't fathom that.
There's got to be, I mean, that, that thing with Dabo kind of lines up with what we're, same topic, about, rules and Saban going to Congress and Tubberville, he's with, us having rules and regulations, and a guy could transfer once. If he transfers twice, you need to sit out a year. Players playing pro, they can't come back down to college baseball or basketball. And MLB and those guys are with it, but it don't affect them. Of course, they're going to be with it. Yeah. So, come on, man. Let's do this. This is off schedule, which is fine with me. I don't care. And pull up Georgia's schedule, and you get a look at it. And Ben's requesting who has a tougher schedule this season, Georgia or Bama. I got Bama's up here. I'll throw it up on the old on the screen here. We'll take a look at it. Alabama starting off the season with Eastern Carolina. Be a home game. Home games are in red. Away games are black. I'll say that's a W. They'll go to Kentucky. I think it's a W. They'll have Florida State and then South Carolina Kakalaki at home. I think they can win both those games. Mississippi State will be at Mississippi State. I'll say just in general, I think they can beat them. But we got one last part here to the show that we're going to end on, and I'm going to talk about one of these teams here, a surprise team. South Carolina and Mississippi State being back-to-back. Here's the thing, with Georgia at home to come up there on the 10th, October 10th.
Yeah.
Bierge said it a while ago. We was talking about recruiting in Alabama and how, we could have 130 players on a team and you could have, your second string, you could have 4 or 5 stars on a second string. Well, you can't do that anymore because you don't have room because you only have 105. You used to not have to pay guys to stay. Used to, they just came and they stayed for 2 or 3 years and they graduated and went early in the draft or they stayed there 4. I'm worried about that stretch right there with these games. Playing Georgia at home, if Bama's offensive line can be healthy, Coles, I don't think Mississippi State or Kakalaki, South Carolina's losing their defensive guys. So, how much push is Bama going to get against their offensive line? So, playing Georgia, I'm going to say it's a loss at home. They're going to travel to Tennessee, go on the road. Either the Georgia game inspires them after a loss or they go on the road and DeBoer takes another dump on the road. He loses some stupid game that he shouldn't lose. So Bama may be on back-to-back weeks there with loss to Georgia and go to Tennessee and lose, and then they're going to come home and play A&M. I like the little quarterback at A&M, and me and Dean were high on him last year, but he is always good to throw a pick at a terrible time in the game. He just every year he does it. Every game he'll have one like, oh crap, like they're winning, and right before half, A&M's up, 10-7. They're driving the field to go up on Bama 17. Oh, he throws a pick six, bam, Bama's up 14-10. I'm saying that.
Yeah.
All right.
It can be consistent for sure.
Yeah, and maybe he may grow through that now. I like him. I ain't trying to diss the boy.
I like him.
He's good. And then they're going to be at LSU and at Vandy. Now that LSU game, I hadn't seen a time yet, but with Coach Orgeron back there down at LSU Tigers, play him back down there. They're going to probably play that game at night. Okay, well, you know what I'm saying to me? They're going to try to play that game at night. If that game's at night, if Keelan Russell's starting, and listen, the young man's played big time football, big time high school out of Duncanville, Texas. Bro, they ain't nothing like the ground literally moving on your feet. Ask A.J. McCarron. Ask Greg McElroy. At LSU, Lane Kiffin's new. They're PO. They hadn't beat us in a while.
They got 45 transfers.
And they hadn't looked good even. I mean, like they had put something together for like a little bit, and then Kelly gets run off, and, and now they got lanes, so, and they've spent some money. That's going to be a tough night game for Bama. I don't know. I say they could beat Vandy, Chattanooga, Auburn at home. They should be able to, win Auburn, South Carolina, Florida State, Kentucky, East Carolina by double digits. But that stretch there, coming home to play Georgia and then going to Tennessee, and they're kind of back and forth, that little run right there. So I think they should be a 9-win team. That, that's not a terrible schedule, but that little run in the middle of the month of October, it's not going to be very friendly to Alabama. What you say about the DOGGS?
Well, Dogs open up at home against Tennessee State. Then they have Western Kentucky. They open up the SEC play on the road against Arkansas, which I think is going to be a win against Silverfield. And then you kind of get a very interesting game here. And Oklahoma coming to Sanford Stadium. Oklahoma obviously with Mateer back. A good bit of production coming back. I think that'll be a tough game. I think Georgia can win that game, but I think it'll be tough. You have Vandy coming to Athens, which is going to be interesting because that whole week all you're going to hear is Jared Curtis. I don't know if you know who that is, but it was the guy, 5-star quarterback that was committed to Georgia that at the last second went to Vanderbilt. And for playing time, it was probably a good decision because I think he would probably be at least third on the pecking order to start, maybe second, but probably third.
I thought he'd been for sure second. I liked the guy. I thought he was going to, pan out. But, money talks and stuff walks. And
yeah. And then it starts to get interesting. You go to Bryant-Denny, which Georgia really hasn't had, obviously, a lot of luck. I think Kirby's worst record against SEC teams is, against Alabama. There's no denying that. Although they have kind of, they did get 1 out of 2 last year. The game that they lost, I feel like that the quarterback and the offense itself, Alabama was like off the Richter scale on third down conversions. And I think that's what that game's going to come down to again. Can you get off the field? Can you get first downs? That was the difference in that game. The next week, you got Auburn. I think Auburn's going to be a better team, but it is in Athens, so I like them to win that one. They've never played Florida that I know of in Atlanta. Maybe in the past, way back in the day.
Yeah, I don't remember any time, not since I've been,
Yeah, so they're playing in Mercedes-Benz, which will be obviously probably predominantly a Georgia crowd. I'd say at least 60-40.
Now, Georgia. Tell me this. They're going to be, I think I heard this, they changed it because the home team can only have recruits there at the game. So were they letting either whoever drawed, I guess they just flip, it just went back and forth. 1 year Georgia's home colors and the next year Georgia's away.
That's what they've been doing. Yeah.
So they did this, changed it so both teams could have recruits at the game.
Yeah, and I think Jacksonville is still renovating their stadium, so I think that's another reason why they'll be gone. And and honestly, in the near future, I see this becoming a home and home, maybe even like at Mercedes, at Jacksonville. I don't know. Jacksonville doesn't want that to happen. The city of Jacksonville is pushing. No. They're saying, look, we're doing these upgrades. We're doing this. We're doing that. They're kind of locked into this deal, so they don't want to get out of there because it brings them a ton of money. Anyway, that's off subject. The next game is at Ole Miss, which I think will be very interesting. You've got the backfield coming back. You've got the quarterback, which kind of stifled Georgia twice last year. They were able to beat them once, but got them in the playoffs. Interesting game. I think, obviously, Ole Miss, Alabama games so far are the two on the road, the two toughest games. Not discounting Oklahoma, but I think the fact that it's in Athens helps out a lot. Missouri Tigers in Athens.
OU's not going to be. And now, Venables is a defensive guru.
Yeah.
But, being in Athens, I would nod that, way.
I think Missouri, I think they could be a sneaky team. I may be foreshadowing my pick a little bit here, but I think Missouri.
Run game.
Yeah, run game. Quarterback, replacing a lot on the defense. So that's kind of a negative.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then you go at South Carolina, which, late in the year. The question about the at South Carolina game, where is South Carolina win-loss wise there? Because it'll only be 2 games left. They could be at 500 or less. I mean, who knows? They finished 4-8 last year. So what kind of mental state is South Carolina in? If the quarterback at South Carolina is having a good year, it could be a really tough game. And then you finish with Georgia Tech, and I just don't think Georgia Tech is going to be the Georgia Tech that they've been the last couple of years. I think they'll take a step back, losing their offensive coordinator, losing their, the quarterback's gone that's been there for seems like 20 years.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think there's 3 really toss-up games. And I don't want to overlook Florida because I think Florida is going to be much improved.
Yeah.
So is Auburn. But, I think Georgia should go 10-2 at least.
Yeah.
And if you ask me whose schedule I think is tougher, when you look down, when you went down Alabama's schedule, the game at Death Valley, you go to Tennessee, which is going to be raucous. I mean, because Tennessee is, they've been putting goalposts in the river, so they're going to want to do that again. I mean, I think that I think Alabama is slightly tougher, but I mean, on the road at Bama, on the road at Ole Miss, it's pretty tough as well. Honestly, I think both schedules. I know Georgia's is not as tough as it's been because there's no Texas. You pick up Arkansas, even though it's a 9-game schedule in the SEC. You pick up South Carolina, Missouri. So, I would go with Alabama to answer that question. I'd say Alabama's tougher schedule by a slim margin. I don't know what the numbers would say.
Let's see. Missed it here. Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you. It's pretty close. Also, from the idea that playing at LSU, probably night game, and going to Tennessee at night, I would have to agree. With that, side of it. But from a 40,000 foot view, not looking internally, but Georgia's going to play an Ole Miss team that wasn't far away from. I mean, a play here or there, or they could have been, national championship game. But now from micro view, they don't have their coach. Their defense is going to be totally, totally different. Lane's not there calling plays for Chambliss. He's still the playmaker. And I think they're going to get theirs in most of their games. And they're probably They're probably 8 or 9 win team also. If that was the Ole Miss of last year, how that game went last year for Georgia, it'd be really close to say, in toughness. But that little stretch there, October for Bama, Georgia, LSU, A&M, Tennessee, man, that I agree that Bama's going to hold the edge in toughness of schedule. It would be a 1 and 2. Auburn's going to have number one. They got a terrible schedule. It's bad. Golis he's going to get baptized not as an OC but as a head coach. Welcome to the SEC.
Yeah, I can say that you're not going to be able to measure the success of Golis at Auburn by their win-loss record this year. I do not.
No, and I'll say this, and I say this a lot, and I said about DeBoer, but I'm being a homer if I say it. Leave that man alone. Leave Golis alone, man. And I know Auburn, they're the chest bump. Every time by God, we got a double roll of toilet paper. Oh God, we're Eagle. I mean, they brag about everything because they can't win at anything, and they don't own any sports category. They've got one title in football. They played at the World Series in baseball. And other than that, man, I mean, they've had a little baseball run, but they got in the losers bracket. They couldn't beat Jacksonville State. Shout out Troy Trojans, by the way. And Georgia, did they lose Texas today? Or was that yesterday?
They beat Texas the day before yesterday, but they lost to Oklahoma yesterday.
That's right, Oklahoma. You're right. Yeah. So Auburn's they're going to beat their chest about if the wind blows the right direction down there. They're going to get happy because they've just been it's a failed program that's in a terrible, terrible spot. It's been just a dumpster fire for a decade. So, but leave the guy alone. Give him 2 or 3 years. If he wins 6 or 7 games this year, great. That would be if he wins 7 or 8 games with their schedule. Okay, so again. You got to leave people alone and let them coach. So, toughness of schedules, Auburn is probably going to be 1, Bama 2, Georgia 3.
Let me throw this one out there to you. I'm just going to read it off real quick. So, Texas has Texas State the first game. But when you look at the rest of Texas' schedule,
it's terrible. It's
my goodness, Texas could have a solid season and go 8-4. I'm not kidding, and miss the playoffs because you have Ohio State, which is in Austin, but it is Ohio State. You go to Tennessee. They have Oklahoma, Florida, Ole Miss on the schedule. You go to Missouri. You go to LSU. You go to Kyle Field, to Texas A&M. I would not be shocked if they go 7-5 or 8-4. I'm calling my shot. They're not winning 9 games. Right now.
Who? Texas?
No, they're not winning 9 games. Even with the big arch.
Well, now they're
y'all take a snippet of this. We'll come back to it.
Well, we know this, and Zach he'll probably say it in the comments here pretty soon. We're back. Every year Texas is back. They're as bad as Auburn. We're back. Every year they're back. Back for what? I mean,
I'm not saying they're a bad team. I think they're going to be a good team.
I like Sark. I think he's a good coach, and Manning is going to be fine. And listen, man, here's the thing. Okay, we know what wins championships. Defense. They're going to be pretty solid. Probably a B+ defense. But they're going to have some offense, man. With Cam and other homeboy that's still there. Texas, what I'm saying is it's going to all play on the offensive line, just like it did Bama last year. They had plenty of weapons, but when it mattered most, could they get up and down the field and score when they had to? That's going to hinge highly. There they are. We back, baby. We back, Zach. Texas, here we come. Hook them. I probably, 8 or 9 games.
If you win 9 games with that schedule, you're in the playoffs.
So they got So they're probably number 2 toughest schedule.
The computer says they're number 1.
Okay. Well,
in the nation.
I would take Auburn because of their rebuilding. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand. The circumstances are a little different. Yeah,
right. Sark they've been played for the SEC. The he's got championship rings. I mean, he knows what he's doing. And Cam Coleman and the other guy, I forgot his name. Taylor or Green. Texas is going to be able to score with the best of them, but if it's number 1, tough schedule nation, you know what they say, man.
Biggest question about Texas to me is like what a lot of people have about all the teams is what's that offensive line going to do? Because
I'm seeing it. That's where it all hinges. That's where it all starts. I mean, without that, there's no. It don't matter how good. I mean, it don't matter how good deep. Well, I mean, if you can hold a team to 0, you can kick a field goal and win a game. But that's just not. That's not being logical in this day and time. The way the refs call the game. And all this hodgepodge crap, throwing players out. I'm not going to get started on that. That just pisses me off. Stop throwing them out. Stop throwing them out. Just stop throwing them out. Just make it a penalty. 15 yards. Warning. And running backs dipping their head in the lane and hitting a linebacker in the helmet. Stop throwing out the linebacker. Golly, man. We got to have some discernment and better watch a freaking game. A ref to be able to see the game and call the darn thing right. Stop throwing. It's just like they just paced the whole thing. Well, it's just targeting. You're gone. No, let's look at it. So there is some changes this year in college football. I know there's 2 or 3, and we'll get into them in some Sunday show or something. We may get into that. Now, here's what I got. Final, kiss my butt. Final segment here, guys. Sneaky team of the year. And I got a little proof on mine. Okay, I'm gonna bring up a little video here. You're welcome to go look up this man, Camario Taylor from Mississippi State. Mississippi State, they got some guys for offensive line that's going to be back to play. I think 3. Okay, if they can run the ball pretty good and keep it between the hash and grind and pound 2 to 4 yards at a time, if defense can just keep them and hold them on in games, I'm telling you, my sleeper team is going to be Mississippi State because of this man right here. There's your quarterback. He sees the ball. See how quick he turns his hips and see how well he reads it. Look at this. Look how well he turns. Boom, bam, ball is out. He throws the ball hard. He is accurate. He'll take off with it and run it, hand it off. He reads the defense as well right there. He knows when to hand it. He knows when to keep it. This Kamar Taylor, look at that. He throwed it on time up in front of the guy, not back shouldered him. He throwed it out in front. Look, he threw it out in front of
Yeah, I'm going to tell you this, too. The guy out wide, Anthony Evans, is a burner. He can go.
Well, the the Johnson kid is the one. This right here should have been a catch. Right here.
On Marquise Johnson?
Right across the middle. Yeah. Boom. That should have been a catch. So that's the first down. And look what down it was 3rd and 3, and he drops the ball. They probably go score, and they're only down 17-21, starting after halftime.
Yeah. Hey, I think they had a pretty good team last year. I think they'll be better.
I like this team. I like Mississippi State. That's my sleeper team. Keep an eye on Taylor. He's number 1 on your jersey, number 1 in your Bulldogs' hearts. What's the difference in the dog bark at Georgia and Mississippi State? I mean, is there a difference, or who's that coming down the track? I mean,
Mississippi State don't really do a dog bark. I mean, they're more.
Their fans do. You go to a baseball game, Mississippi State. Trust me, them boys bark. They do. They bark. Yeah. So that's my sleeper team, guys. You can clip it and paste it. Mississippi State, watch out for Taylor and wide receiver Johnson, this other guy. So they got a pretty good receiving core. Now, boy can pull it and run it too. Okay, he's athletic. Keep on Mississippi State this year. I'm not saying they're going to blow out and win 10 games, but,
So my sleeper team went 4-8 last year, and will have projected an entire offensive line of transfer players, and has I would say a borderline elite quarterback. I'm going to go with South Carolina. And I think Sellers is a big reason why. I think Lenore Sellers could be better with a better line of scrimmage. And that's one of the biggest things. You got a senior left tackle, Jacarius Peak. You got a junior, Hank Purvis, at left guard. You got a redshirt senior, Carter Miller, at center. I mean, you got – it keeps going. We're talking about seniors. 4 of the 5 starters will be seniors, has played a lot of football, and 1 will be a junior. All of them transfers. That's what's projected right now. And to me, that sounds a whole lot better than what they had. So,
offensive line wise, they're going to
correct.
All those things.
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah,
look,
projected. Projected.
That recipe, when you start talking about seniors, offensive line seniors, man, I've seen it. Bama and Georgia.
Yeah.
That team, that Auburn team that beat Oregon that year and won it, they was all seniors, all of them.
Here's another factor that I think. You got Sellers, you got the offensive line. They still got some players on the outside coming back. Running backs are pretty decent, and you bring in Kendall Briles to run the offense. So I think that's going to help play calling, scheme. I think you'll see a lot better there. And I think, when I say surprise team, I mean, they were 4-8 last year. If you pull up their schedule, which I will here in a minute, but I mean, could the team go? I mean, I don't know. Could they go 8 wins, 7 wins? Well, I mean, that would be better, obviously. But
here's what ChatGPT, AI Google says about South Kakalaki. Returning core of 4-star running backs. Running back coach Stan Drayton has also successfully addressed the future of the position in high school ranks. South Carolina recently landed a massive commitment from 4-star running back Braden Tyson, breaking a multiple cycle drought for the failing to sign a high school player at this position. So you're going to look at Matt Fuller to Augustave to Howe, 220-pounder, the Clark kid, a high upside transfer added to the room this offseason. to pound the run game. And then Jabri Coleman, another newly acquired transfer, brought in to complete this roster, while on the addition of making the headlines following the dismissal of transfer running back Sam Williams-Dixon. Williams-Dixon, Ohio State transfer who joined the program in January, was permanently dismissed from the team following his June 13th arrest of multiple grade larceny and criminal conspiracy charges.
Lord.
Vehicle break-ins. Idiot. What are you come on, man. You got all this ability God give you, and you don't get here breaking in. Why are you breaking in cars? You got NIL. What are you doing, man? Come on. That's crazy. But anyway, so their running back room is good.
Yeah, they're bringing back their number one back, and Nick Harbor will be back not Nick Harbor. Nick Harbor's receiver that will be back for a senior, but
two-year starter in Thompson for offensive line. Peak, standout North Carolina State transfer, sideline for spring ball injury.
Tuggle from Georgia.
Transfer portal departure, further in line the portal loss, including the Henry kid to Louisville and the kid to A&M. Sarrett Jr., rising sophomore there. The Anderson kid, Gray, Simpkins, the third portal influx brought to you in. And who was the guy from Georgia?
Nitro Tuggle. He transferred from Georgia as a wide receiver.
Okay.
He's listed as their X on the projected starters.
Okay. Kendall Browse is a brilliant offensive mind. He is.
Yep.
I think he is. Browse is a good play caller. So look out for South Kakalaki. Look out for Mississippi State.
I like them both.
What else, Bierge?
I don't know. That sums it up, I guess.
That'll sum it up. Guys, we just appreciate y'all for just want to jump in here and talk some football. Get in here about some Bama recruiting woes. Y'all calm your tits, man. It's June. It's June. Wait till December. Let's see who signs. Be calm, be cool. There's 105 spots to fill, not 130 anymore. It's different. You got to have money for high school. You got to have money for portal. You got to have money to retain class. There's 3 markets now. It's not like it used to be. Well, he can't coach. The money's run out. Bama's what it is. Well, why did they have the best class in the nation last year then? If the money – shut up. That's so stupid. And those are just ignorant sports writers that just want to get clicks on stuff. Everybody's selling – I've noticed this. I do a lot of Bible study stuff and talk to a lot of people from other denominations. Everybody's selling a book or something. They'll just say stuff just to get you to – they don't even really probably believe what they're saying. They just do it to get people mad and aggravated so you'll buy their book or come on Facebook and hit dislike on their video and just argue with them because it's COE, Birds. Content over everything. COE.
That sounds like a Paul Feinbaum type.
It's like Jerry Springer.
Oh, yeah.
Even after we knew it was set up, when we knew years went by, and of course I knew it was set up because I knew a guy from Turkey County that went on the show, and he told us how they played it out, how they told him what to say. And how
I know a guy from Walker County that was on the show.
So we already, and you still watched it. We still freaking watched it.
It was funny.
We kind of knew who's going to win the belt in WWE wrestling. We watch wrestling. Roman's not dumping that belt to Fatu. He's not going to dump the belt. They're going to build Fatu a story, and then Jay is going to turn his back on the family because he's already won it. He's going to get sick of it, and then he'll go off and do his. I've watched wrestling for 40 years. I can tell you, you already know kind of what's going to. But I still watch it.
I hear you.
So we know what's going to happen, but people, we're still going to watch it, and people are trying to get likes and clicks, and maybe that's why I'm not raking in the thousands a month on a football podcast show, because I'll say some crazy stuff, but I ain't going to just say something just because,
Yeah.
If I think Mississippi State's a sleeper because I like their quarterback, wide receiver room, they got offensive linemen too here. I said if they can run the ball and figure their defense out, Mississippi State go in there and win 6-7 guys,
Yeah.
And you like South Kakalaki? We just laid out the evidence here. Is that a hot take? Could you get a lot of clicks from that?
I mean, we're not saying they're going to win a title or make the playoffs or not. We're just saying they're sleepers. They could get an upset or two.
Yeah. What about Missouri? I know you mentioned something about that. That was kind of on your maybe radar sleeper.
It was absolutely on there. It's
who's going to be their quarterback? Is homeboy's gone, ain't he?
Yeah, it's funny you asked that because the transfer from Ole Miss is going to be their starting quarterback.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
he went over back first of summer, didn't he?
And I think,
he's good too. What's his name?
He's a lefty.
What's his name?
Simmons, Austin Simmons.
Yeah, bro, I like him. I like him. I thought even when Shambliss come in, I thought Simmons is good, man.
Yeah, and I think they actually might get the guy with the bullet wound back. He might get to play some this year, and he's a pretty good back.
What are these kids doing, man? Like the kid up South Carolina we just read about, starting tailback, gonna get deals and have a deal with whatever, and he's grand larceny, breaking in cars. Why? What are you doing, young man? Stop it.
Yeah,
stop.
I've seen it. That one that comes to mind, and I guess I'll throw a little shade at Georgia, but Eric Gilbert that was at Georgia at one time. I think he was at LSU at one time too, but dude busting in the back door and going there and stealing from a jewelry store and then got locked in or something. And
what are they doing? Why?
I know.
Why? There's so much opportunity out there. This ain't 1993 or even 2003 where, times was tough, and Takeo Spikes told stories on biographies I've watched about Auburn about literally coming back from games, beating Georgia, and he said, we're celebrating. He had to go to his room and eat noodles and wear old sweats because there wasn't nothing to eat, didn't have no money. This ain't then.
No.
This ain't then.
No.
Kids ain't eating noodles unless they want to. Speaking of noodles, let's go get some beans and cornbread.
All right, brother.
Bierge, I really appreciate you just coming on. Look, guys, I just messaged him like 30 minutes before, and he run by my head, and I thought, well, he may well come on and talk some football. And he just jumped right on. I appreciate you for short notice.
Oh yeah, man. I enjoyed talking football. Actually, I've been talking a little bit earlier today with Lawrence, talking some padded camps over here. And Chattooga hosted a 9-team padded camp yesterday, and a bunch of good young players. It's going to be an interesting season in Northwest Georgia. Coosa's head coach, which had got Coosa going in the right direction, he's no longer there anymore.
Yeah, Coach Howard and Brian's took over.
Agree. Yeah, I don't really have the end with those guys yet, but
they was past. I grew up with Brian, and Coach Howard was, teacher and coach at Cedar Bluff for years, and at Spring Garden, very successful there for years and years.
I've actually watched multiple Spring Garden. I watched Spring Garden, I think, maybe against Center, and I went down there and watched one of their fall scrimmages or something, and I've seen them in the playoffs one year. I think they had. It seems like they always have. What's the last name? They always have a player. Yes.
Well,
yeah. And that one guy, he was a beast, man. He was.
Yeah, Luke.
Yeah.
He played football at Berry. He just got married, and he's expecting a little one. His daddy's Mark, and Luke played Pee Wee for me. He played with Marcus, and they all
enjoyed watching him go out there.
People, good kid. His granddaddy, just good people.
He could do anything. He played defense. He could run the ball.
He could hit the shit out of a baseball too.
Kick the ball. Yeah, I've seen him do a little bit of everything.
Yeah, so Coach Howard so Coosa with them and Brian, he's not the clap it up, hey, rah, rah. Coach Howard, he's going to expect a certain, way for them to work out and to be. So if they're not used to that, players at Coosa, if y'all roll by here from Georgia, Northwest Georgia Scoreboard Show, finest Bittenburg, be ready. Because they already know workouts has already started, so they already know what's up.
Yeah. Well, Coosa slides into a different region this year after the recall.
Oh, okay.
So
better, easier,
negative,
harder. Gonna be tough. Oh God.
So I'll run down real quick the teams in that region. It's the southern part. With some of the teams
really?
Home.
Why?
Yeah. That's where they got it split up. So the southern part of is 6AA now. Armurchie, Bremen, Coosa, Darlington, Heard County, Model, Mount Zion, and Pepperell. in that region there. And then go ahead.
So they're region with Heard County.
Correct.
Oh boy.
In the northern region now, which is still 7AA, you've got Chattooga, Christian Heritage, Dade County, Fannin County still, Gordon Central, Gordon Lee, and then LFO.
Gordon Lee.
Yeah, Gordon Lee's in correct. And Lakeview Fort Overthorpe is moving down from 3A down to 2A. So
boy. Gordon Lee.
They went a couple rounds deep last year. They've recently won a bunch of softball and baseball titles in the last little bit. I mean, they got a talented team up there. Last year, they probably had one of their better football teams.
Okay,
they went a couple rounds deep, but they were actually at the padded camp. I watched some highlights on them breaking in.
Skill guys?
Yeah, they're breaking in a few newer skill guys, but they had a couple guys that could go. And they're always physical. Coach up there always got them physical, and that line of scrimmage seems like it's always better than it looks.